Hello, dear friends. In today's video, I will show my game against Andrey Esipenko, French team championship. I had black pieces. Let's go. Yes, of course, Andrey could start with any other move. For this game, he decided to start with e4, and I was sure that he himself and his coaches most likely prepared something against Najdorf, which regularly I'm playing. So that's why I decided to play something else. And earlier in 2024, I had a game this line against young Turkish prodigy Gurel, and the line itself is very popular nowadays. Even Gukesh played it during candidates tournament, and also for a long time already, I wanted to play it, and eventually against Andre, I decided to go for it. But of course, before the game, I checked very deeply. So e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. Andre here also goes bishop c4 very often. Yes, bishop b5 and a6. Bishop takes c6, d takes c. Uh, yes, there black is more or less fine. Bishop a4 and knight e7 move. Yes, against Gurel it was short castle, knight g6, c3, and d5. Yes, and here Andre, after spending a couple of minutes, he surprised me with d4 because I did not remember all the details after d4, so I took and yes, if bishop c5, for example, the strongest for white is to go knight f5, short castle, bishop e3. Yes, bishop takes, knight takes, and white is having some space advantage. White is doing slightly better. Yes, knight takes d4, takes b5, bishop b3. Now, of course, bishop f7 or queen d5 threats are there. Bishop b7. Yes, black is already threatening c5 and c4. Yes, for example, if queen c3, then the strongest move is to go bishop d6. And just if queen g7, queen e7. If I'm not mistaken, if queen d3, the strongest move is to go queen h4. So rook d1, yes, very deep idea. The point is being that c5 is not really working because of bishop f7. King takes f7, queen d7. Yes, the best move is queen e7, bishop g5. You go bishop c8, queen d5, bishop e6, takes, 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 takes on e4, takes on c5, takes on c5. White is pawn up. Yes, yes, no point for black to go for this forcing line. Yes, queen e7, the strongest move, because of course, if you want to develop the bishop, always g7 pawn is hanging. Yes, so that's why queen e7. And here, like black is also having one very weird idea uh, to play queen e7 d6 and force opponent to trade the queens. Uh, let's say in the middle game with the queens on the board, uh, you really feel and see that black is behind in development. But without queens, you don't feel it much. For example, here c4 is one of the possible options. Queen d6. White can take queen d6, bishop d6, knight c3, or queen d6, bishop d6, c takes b. White is having very slightly better position. And my opponent here surprised me with queen d3. Uh, yes, let's say before move queen e7, let's say more or less I was aware of. I didn't remember all the details, but I knew that queen d7, queen d6 idea is there. But after queen d3, I didn't know anything at all. And I started um, calculating because white is threatening to go knight c3, and if white manages to go knight c3, then black is in huge trouble. Uh, yes, it's very hard to imagine that black can castle a short side right now because with the bishop on f8, how are you going to develop them? Yes, if queen d6, then with queen d6 you are not forcing any trade of queens, so white has at least queen f3 move. Yes, that's why I started already calculating very replay bishop takes c4 move. Of course, it does look very risky because you don't have development, you are behind, and you are capturing the pawn and allowing opponent to later on gain tempos by developing their pieces. Yes, but not much choice. So bishop takes c4. Yes, here white had two moves, queen g3 and queen h3. Queen g3 is the strongest. If queen h3, then long castle ideas are even stronger. So queen g3, and here I went bishop c6 because I did not like long castle because of rook e1. And I thought that I'm in trouble, but yes, engine here, for example, recommends f5 or d5, and the point is being that f3 is not really working because of f4, let's say. And if you go queen f2, there is at least queen g5. Yes, but I was also afraid of some knight c3 development, developing moves. Another option is to go d5, and let's say if f3, of course, there is queen c5, bishop e3, d4, but I was afraid of this. But here queen e5 is possible option, or even queen d7. So I played bishop c6, and the problem with bishop c6 move, it allows queen takes c7. Otherwise, if let's say knight c3, then black is just fine after long castle. So knight d5, you can always go queen e5, and during the game, when I took on e4, I was calculating all these lines, a4 before, knight goes to d5, queen e5, and here more or less I liked my position. Yes, queen c7, the strongest move, and here I played queen e4. Yes, queen g3, f3 does not really work because of bishop c5, and here you should already go king f1 because king h1 there is queen f3. Yes, queen g3, and here I went wrong with bishop b4. Of course, I saw my initial idea was to go bishop d6, and I thought I'm doing fine. Rook d6, queen e1, queen d6, queen g2, and I'm forcing my opponent to go queen e3, queen e3, bishop e5, and I'm fine. But here, of course, when Andrei played queen g3, I realized that bishop d6 is just bad because of knight c3, and bishop g3, knight e4, white is having much better position. But according to the engines, bishop c5 is very strong, and if knight c3, queen f5. Of course, I saw it, but I did not like something like rook e1, king f8, but computer uh, evaluates this position as slightly better for white. But I thought with bishop e3 ideas it will be even worse for me, but seems h5 ideas are there, so black isn't doing very bad here. So my point of playing bishop b4 was whenever you go knight c3, I just take, I just castle short side. Yes, but here Andrei, of course, found another interesting move, a3 he played. Yeah, if bishop d2, then short castle idea is there, and rook e1 does not win a piece because I'm having bishop d6 move. Yes, so he played a3 with the idea if you go bishop a5, then he wanted to go bishop d2. Bishop d2, and again, if bishop c7, knight c3 comes, yes, otherwise, if you take knight d2, and then rook e1. Yes, that's why I played queen e2, attacking the rook. And here Andrei played the strongest queen e3. I was very much worried about c4, and I even wanted to go bishop a5, but after the game, Andrei said that big c was working, I saw this line, queen e6, and I was worried very much about b5, a takes b, rook a8, bishop a8, queen b8, and I did not realize that my knight protects the rook on h8. So h8 is not really hanging. And black is doing fine after king e7, queen takes b5, rook d8. Yes, queen e3 is the strongest. Takes bishop a5 to stop all kind of knight c3 ideas, at least to have bishop c3, knight d2. And now let's say if I go short castle, then this knight f3 move is very unpleasant. Yes, you don't really have bishop f3 because after g takes f, all all the light squares and especially d7 pawn are very weak, and otherwise knight d4 jumps are possible. So very unpleasant position for black. That's why I could go knight h4, stopping knight f3, but here f3 I did not like. And let's say if short castle, then knight e4 simply comes. And again, if I take on e4, f takes c, d7 is very weak, f7 as well. So if I go knight f5, bishop f2, and whenever I attack this knight on e4, then bishop d5 is there. So I played knight e5 to stop knight f3, bishop c5, the strongest. I played long castle and a4. Here I could go bishop c7. I was very much worried about a takes b, a takes b, and still a lot of minor pieces are there, and I was afraid of my exposed king. That's why I took bishop d2, and of course, always when already I played knight e5, my idea was to somewhere took on d2 and go knight c4. Yes, bishop takes d2. He could start with a takes b. Yes, rook d2 and knight c4 I played. Andrei already took on c4. Yes. Engine, for example, recommends to go rook d3, and if knight b2, there is rook g3. Of course, my idea was not to take on b2. My idea was just to close bishop on b3, and later on maybe even go d5. Yes, bishop c4, b takes c. Of course, white is doing very slightly better, not much. If I manage to trade all the rooks, then it's just uh, draw. So bishop d6 to stop all attempts for black to go d5. Yes, rook e8, f3, just restricting my bishop, rook e6, rook d4. Yes, whenever rook a3 with the intention to go rook c3, I always can go rook e1 and rook b1, attacking the pawn on b2. Rook d4, rook e8. Yes, king f1. Yes, here for some reason, engine likes king d8 instead of going king b7. Yes, h4, I played h6, I could go h5, h5 would have been stronger. I played h6 with the intention to go g5 later on. So bishop g3, now c4 pawn is hanging, I played d5, b3, takes, and here engine likes going g5 and does not see much problems for black. Of course, anyway, white is the better side. So rook e3, rook b4, rook c1, here I could also go rook to e6, this rook to e6. I played this move, and after king f2 here, it's very interesting that engine shows king g1 as the strongest, the best move, and surprisingly or not, Andrei after the game just said that we were trying to find some better ways for white to achieve something, and one of his suggestions was to maybe very deep move going king g1. Yes, king f2, and here I could go rook to e8. Rook e8 would have been the strongest, and still it's a better position for white. Andrei could and will torture me, I'm sure. Uh, but I played d4. I thought d4 is it's the right time to go for d4. But of course here my opponent could take rook b3, rook f4, forcing me to go some f6 and rook c4, king b7. I saw this position without rook f4, f6 moves, and the problem is being that I don't have any moves with the rook on c8, with the bishop on c6, because always rook c7 or rook c8 ideas are there. Yes, but I have some ideas, a5, rook b4. Yes, but engine somehow um, evaluates this position as +1 for white. So rook c4 was played by Andrei, and I think this was his let's say, uh, last attempt with the rook d4 to fight for advantage because the rest I played well. Rook c3, a5, and now rook b6 does not work because of king a7, and rook is surprisingly trapped. Rook takes b3, rook c5, king b7, and here I'm too active with king g1, rook e8, rook e2. So rook e8, forcing rook b4, takes, and g6, very important move. Now I'm really threatening some rook a8 ideas, trading the rooks. Yes, rook a7 is unpleasant threat, so trading a5, and this position is like very, very drawish. All what I need is to trade all my three pawns and my bishop with remaining kingside pawns, because with a c5 bishop and pawn on a5, it's not enough for white to win the game. Yes, king f2, f5, a6 bishop b5, and after a7, Andrei offered me draw. Of course, I agreed. Game ended in a draw. So for today, for that game, for this game, I played new opening. Uh, yes, earlier in my previous videos in my YouTube channel, you can find my game uh, against Gurel. Yes, I played very trendy line nowadays, and hard to say it really worked because I was suffering throughout the game. But of course, Andrei surprised me with Queen d3 move, and it was interesting fight. Yes, thank you very much, dear friends, for watching this video. Hope to see you very, very soon.